Okay. Good afternoon, everybody, and a warm welcome to our Saturday lives. We have come back after a gap, though I must tell you all that we did a session last Saturday with Ofer Breyer, thanks to Murlidhar Koteshwaran, who brought all that together. And today we have a very special person, Sulbha Shantwan. I have heard about her so much, and in fact there have been so many chances that I would get to meet her because we have so many common friends, but it never really happened. And now here we are online and we are meeting each other. This is the first time I meet her face to face, and I'm so happy to have her on our platform. She has immense experience helping and guiding children and parents in their homeschooling journey, not only in their homeschooling journey, but also in helping them prepare for boards and so on, and also guiding them towards what field they should choose as their career and so on. So she runs a wonderful academy called Sandbox Academy in Pune, and homeschoolers are always welcome, and she open-heartedly offers this space for anybody, in fact homeschoolers, to come and have their meets and use this space. So welcome, Sulbha. We are really happy to have you here. Today's topic, as everybody knows, is all about boards, selection of boards, subjects, NIOS, IGCSE, state board, or any other options, and how to go about it. A topic that is very important, and we keep receiving a lot of queries about boards on our group, and so this is something that we are really looking forward to today. While Sulbha starts sharing everything she knows about the boards, I request you all to start putting down your questions in the comments section so that it gets so Sulbha can also answer them while she is giving her talk. Today we are following a slightly different formula. Instead of me asking questions directly, we're going to give Sulbha a 15, 20, 25-minute talk time where she will explain everything she knows, and then we will move on to questions. Okay. So over to you, Sulbha. Looking forward to listening to you now. Yes.
Okay, Sharmila, thank you so much, first of all, for inviting me to address this issue. As you correctly said, that we do receive a lot of queries, especially with this topic. So thank you so much for giving this opportunity so that we could address it at a larger scale. To begin with, the option that homeschooling families have when you're looking specifically for board perspective is we have three options. One is SSE board, where you can fill up form 17, which is like any other external candidate, which we have been seeing for so many years now. The second option is National Institute of Open Schooling, NIOS, which allows your child to give an exam the minute the child is 14. So the age criteria is the limit. However, they don't ask you for any certifications or anything beyond that. Okay, so what they are expecting you to do is just put up your Aadhaar card and register. And the entire process is very hassle free. Everything is available in PDF formats. Even when we are talking about the books, or we are talking about the course material, the worksheets, the audio video aid, everything is very, very simple to access by anybody. It's all free of cost. It's all on the NIOS website. So that's option number two. And the third option that we have is the IGCSE board. That is the Cambridge board. Now, when we are choosing a Cambridge board, the challenge lies in finding a Cambridge school which will allow your child to appear as an external candidate. That's number one. Second important thing is that when you are going to that particular school, you also need to check the subjects that they're offering for an external candidate, because sometimes that may vary, that some schools will offer you, the subjects of your choice, and sometimes you will have to choose only the subjects that are there in the school. So that is another point that you will have to consider when you're looking at a Cambridge school. And the advantage, now suppose if I'm comparing the three boards, like say I'm comparing between SSC and NIOS, the only difference is that SSC board, if you're giving, then there is no subject choice that you have. You have to give math, science, English, Hindi, Marathi, history, geography. All the subjects are mandatory. Whereas when you're looking at NIOS board, English is the only mandatory subject. Besides English, you can opt for any other four subjects. Now, many a times people ask me questions about, is second language compulsory? Will that be? So far in so many years, I have never come across any college refusing a child for that. So it's not mandatory to have another second language. So you could have English as one of the languages and then pick up any other four subjects. And let me tell you that whatever I have taught the NIS board, I think curriculum wise it's very very systematically planned. The progression of the chapters or the content, only thing is not, it's not very exciting curriculum, but yes, it's very well organized. So if you're looking for a systematic method of teaching your child at home, then I think this should be a good choice. When I'm looking at Cambridge, Cambridge is offering far more subjects than what NIOS is doing. However, the limit, as I told you, as I mentioned before, is that whether the external school who's offering you this option, whether they have that subject. Like, for example, let's say you are trying to look at liberal arts as one of your optional subject, or you want to do eurythmy, or you want to do any other subject like that, which is slightly different than your normal subjects, then you will have to go and contact the school personally and check with them whether that option is available or no. And if that option is available, then you can take it. Otherwise, you'll have to leave it. One suggestion or one observation that I personally had over so many years was that it's always a good idea to trace your steps back. Like, for example, if you are sure that your child is going to go abroad for some, say, higher studies, then it is always advisable to go for Cambridge board, because then the validity of the certifications and all become more handy and more useful. Because we don't know whether foreign universities, how many of the foreign universities accept NIOS. Though few of my students did NIOS and were placed in foreign universities, but not all. So that can become challenging if you are sure that you're going abroad. If you're looking for only a certification and you're just looking for the progression of the child just like that without any agenda of going abroad, then I think NIOS will be a better choice. And SSC is a good option if you are trying to get into mainstream, maybe in your grade 11 and 12. So suppose if you want to do, maybe medical or engineering or, things of that kind, then I think SSC board can also be there. But the drawback of SSC board is that all subjects become compulsory. So this is what has been my observation so far, and a little gist and comparison between the boards. Now, when I'm looking at, the choice of subjects, okay, which is again, so I would recommend that till grade 8, give your child a free hand, give them a lot of exposure to a lot of different subjects, because till grade 8, actually, the child is not really prepared to answer this question as to which 5 subjects that he should choose from, because you're not exposing him to all in depth. Because till grade 5, it's general science, right? We don't even know, the child doesn't even know what is physics, chemistry, biology. So if we are not giving them a sufficient time to explore that subject, then I think we are just taking it away and we are just dumping our decision ultimately on them. Okay, suppose say your child is having a special need, maybe with reading, writing, or maybe with mathematics, like dyscalculia or something like that, then yes, then maybe you could drop maths right at the beginning. But I suggest strongly that you should at least give them some time, at least till grade 8, and then go on decision making. Secondly, one more challenge that I see in some students who come to me, especially in the higher grades, like who opt for homeschooling, say after grade 7, is that if you're suddenly jumping from an SSE background, like you were doing schooling in an SSE background, and you suddenly want to jump to Cambridge, then that might get slightly challenging because of the pattern of the paper. Because Cambridge is completely application based. So there, the emphasis is on conceptual understanding more than just writing the definition, or maybe what is the unit of this. So there are no direct questions that are asked in Cambridge board, even in the exam point of view. So I would suggest, then, if you want to try out Cambridge board, start early, as early as possible, so that your child has that aptitude to apply the concepts that are learned, so that way his journey becomes a little comfortable and a little easy. I don't say it's impossible. You can always unschool till grade 10 and directly give an IGCSE. That's absolutely fine. But it just helps if your child is like, kind of learning in that kind of a mode where, he starts applying concepts, or bring about that kind of a culture in your house itself where, you're trying to ask him to apply concepts on his own. So I think this is what I had to share about the boards, and then maybe I'll answer the questions as they come.
Yeah, I'm also back.
Yeah.
So lovely, lovely. It was so interesting to hear all the differences between the three boards. And there is a question that has come up, and I'm going to just display it on the screen. Is CBSE an option?
Well, CBSE doesn't allow external candidates. They have external candidates, but it's only for failures. So suppose if your child fails in CBSE 9th or something, or 10th something, only then they allow. So there is actually no option of CBSE. But NIOS, I would say, is a very parallel board. So in fact, the chapters also overlap a lot. So if you're specifically looking for CBSE board, then I think NIOS is a good choice.
Okay. So there is another question related to NIOS. How many stages are there in NIOS?
Okay, well, stages, I think you're talking about the ranking. So maybe, so the first exam that is allowed to take is grade 3. So grade 3, you can take up an exam, grade 5, grade 8, and then 10. So these are the levels. However, so it's not a mandate. So suppose if my child has not, like my son is homeschooling, and he's never given a grade 3 or a grade 5 exam. But tomorrow, if he wants to do grade 10, he would be allowed. So it's not mandatory, but these are the options.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. In fact, I know of so many friends, children who have been homeschooled or unschooled and then choose to give directly the 10th
10th. Yeah,
NIOS. And they do well too, because it's a
exactly.
curriculum that is easier to, grasp,
Absolutely.
and studies also don't take too much time. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, so we'll move on to the next question. Uh, how are Indian colleges in accepting homeschoolers?
Well, they're very open now. See, the culture is changing, definitely. The education system is changing. In fact, I forgot to mention about Maharashtra Open Board, right? Which was launched last year in 2000. Actually, they started in 2019. They started off with Maharashtra Open School for those children who had an aspiration to get into sports or arts. Okay, and that was a very good option for the homeschoolers as well. And many of my students who have been doing NIOS and doing homeschooling are welcomed, in fact, in the colleges because of the out of the box thinking and their creativity. So I think that is something that we really cherish, and I think they appreciate that. Yeah, so they are welcoming them.
Yeah, yeah. Even I have seen that so far, all those who have given their exams through NIOS, mainly homeschoolers, are welcomed. Even National Institute of Design, some of the
Yes.
engineering colleges, I think medical is the only gray area here, right? Getting admissions in a
But
medical college. So,
Sharmila, one of my
mm,
student did give NEET last year, and she
okay,
got into a medical college. So that
okay,
also wasn't an issue. Yeah. So
oh,
I think
okay.
they are doing it, but sometimes some colleges, as I said, it depends from college to college and who's the owner of the college and what's their vision
Mhm,
about education. So if the
mhm.
owner is really, a visionary and who sees education in a different forum, I think it's not a problem.
Okay, okay. And this, you mean private colleges, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Okay. So, any idea about whether government colleges do accept homeschoolers for medical admissions,
Actually,
admissions?
most of them don't go for mainstream. Very
Yeah,
rarely children
yeah,
go for
right.
mainstream. That's a
Yes,
thing.
that's
But
true.
those who
That's
go,
true.
I think, mostly prefer private. May I didn't ask them the reason, but yeah, I would keep it in mind and maybe ask them that did they
Yeah.
try the government colleges or no? That
Okay.
can be an option.
Yes.
But I think
Okay.
they should because now everything is centralized, no?
Right.
CT
Right.
based. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So we'll go on to the next question, which is okay. If a child wants to do engineering, medical, then is NIOS 10th grade accepted by college, or do they need to go to be from SSC board? Second, does a child need to give NIOS 8th grade to be eligible for giving grade 10?
Okay, so the first one is no, it's not mandatory to do SSC at all. You can do 10th NIOS and get into medical or engineering, it doesn't matter. And to answer your second, as I said, that it's not mandatory at all to give your lower grade exams through NIOS. Because in NIOS, the only thing that they're asking is your Aadhaar card. Rest, there's no document that is attached. So it's very simple and plain process. So nothing else.
Yeah. Yes. In fact, my son has applied. In fact, he's not yet prepared because he doesn't know whether he wants to give the exam. But he did apply, and all they asked was for the Aadhaar card, as you said, and a handwritten declaration that he will be able to cope with the studies. Apart from that, there was no other
Document.
documentation that was needed. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to the next question. How do we get certification in NIOS or IGCSE board?
So IGCSE, you get a same mark sheet that any other regular student would get. The only change is that, on your card, it would be written as an external candidate. That's all. But the mark sheet is exactly same like how a regular student would get. And NIOS itself is a board in itself. So it's an open board. So you get an authentic mark sheet. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Let's take the next question. NIOS website says 8th standard mark sheet required in the 10th secondary
Application.
application.
Well, it's just written as a rule for the children who are dropping out from school and maybe want to do it through an external board. Like, if you're catering to children who cannot cope the normal school, it's for them, not for homeschoolers. For homeschoolers, as Sharmila mentioned, that, it's only a self-declaration that I am a homeschooler and I am ready to take up the responsibility. So it's not mandated.
Let's move on. Okay. How how do we approach IGCSE schools to appear as a private candidate? Also, what are the IGCSE stages?
Okay, so if you're in Pune, I know a school that's RIMS International, which we all know, is welcoming homeschoolers to appear as external candidates. However, if you're in a different city, then you can just go to the CIE website and put a list of schools in your city. And you will get over there, it's clearly mentioned that external candidates accepted or external candidates not accepted.
Not
So it's very
accepted.
easy. CIE website is the option for you. Just go over there and do it. And what stages? You can like I know of RIMS because one of my student did it. So in RIMS they are allowing even at grade 8 to appear as an external candidate. Okay, but again that's not mandatory. You can directly go at 10th. They call you for the practical exams and they call you for the theory papers and all of that. And the books are recommended, the subjects are discussed with the parents. So they are very friendly, they are very helpful, and they make the homeschooling child very comfortable also. So I've got very good reviews from RIMS International, and all my past students who have been through RIMS have really been very glad that they joined there. So it's been good. So there are no stages for IGCSE. You don't need any other.
Yeah. Okay. We'll move on to the next question. Um, what about the conduct certificate for higher studies in homeschooling?
Conduct certificate, as in how is the child, that kind of a thing?
Maybe, I request the person who has asked this question to elaborate on this question so that we can understand it better. And while you're doing so, we'll move on to the next question. And the next question is, can a child appear for CET and
Yes,
NEET after NIOS? Yeah.
yes, they can.
Yes. That's the only way they get admissions in professional colleges,
Mainstream.
and NIOS is at par with any other boards that are there in India. So yes, it is accepted. Yeah. Okay. Should a Cambridge board be ruled out if a child does not want to study abroad in future? If no, what should be the basis to select among the boards?
See, as I said, your choice of board should be based on how you want to, what you want exactly from the education system. Like, as I mentioned very clearly, that Cambridge is all about application. So, if you really want to test whether your child has understood the concept and knows the applicability, then I think Cambridge board should be your choice. So, it's not only about, whether you want to go abroad or you don't want to go abroad, but it's also about whether, like, for example, my son does a Cambridge curriculum at home, not because I want to send him abroad, but because I know that Cambridge board is really checking the understanding of the child. So I think that should be your criteria, that what you want to do, so trace your steps back and see what is expected. And it's always to
Mhm.
study all the boards also. It doesn't matter,
Yeah.
because a child is very receptive.
Yes, yes. Actually, if we go to look at the content of each of the board, the knowledge is the same. It's
Same, exactly.
probably the way questions are asked in the answer in the question paper and the way answers are expected. That
Correct.
makes it different with each of the boards. And yeah, so just to, because we are talking about Cambridge board, my daughter who's 6.5, she told me one day that she wants to she wants me to teach her, and so far we don't teach. I've not taught her, and I've been shunning all that away. So I said, okay, what do you want me to teach you? So she said, I want you to get textbooks because my friends have textbooks. So I thought about it and I got a Cambridge primary science book. It's right here with me, the learner's book. And it's quite interesting. Because I have been a teacher myself and I have taught grade 1, grade 2, grade 3 in science, and we used to call it theme back then in our school. I saw that the content is the same, but the way the questions are asked or way the chapter is oriented, is very different.
Hmm. Yes,
Cambridge doesn't give you direct statements or sentences to learn,
correct.
but it is asking the child to think and answer. So, in the chapter of living and non living things, it was about, you tell us, why do you think this is living? Why do you think that is non living? What are your
Absolutely.
reasonings behind it? And so I liked it because it was a wonderful discussion that I could have with my daughter around living and non living. And she was very clear that a flower that is plucked is a non living thing because it's dead, it's no longer living. So,
Correct.
these kind of answers and thinking can come through a Cambridge board, whereas through a NCRT book, you'll probably have, this is non-living. They'll give you a list of things that are
Exactly.
non-living and a list of things that are living, and that's it. So that's the difference that I see personally in these two board. In Yeah. So, okay, we'll move on to the next question. I love talking, so you might just see that I talk too much. Okay, I'm going to
Go back to school.
wait, wait,
Okay.
wait. Yeah. Yeah. So, if after doing homeschooling for 1 or 2 years, and if go back to school, will schools accept the child in the next grade?
Okay, so see, I'll be honest here. If you're doing homeschooling for even a year, I doubt how many would go back to school. But anyway, the jokes apart. So even if we want to go back, see, first of all, as per legally also, if you're talking, right to education will not deny any child an admission. They will not reject any admission. Okay. Second, most of the schools are there for a commercial reason. So if you are going, obviously, the school is going to get an income. So that's the second solid reason why they'll never reject your child. And the third thing that the school actually checks is whether your child has an aptitude for it. For the desired class. So, say for example, you have taken a gap in grade 4 and 5, and now you're seeking admission in grade 6. They would just want to check whether your child has an aptitude for grade 6 or are there any learning gaps. So, that's all that they check. And I'll tell you, in spite of that, also the school will give you. Even if there are learning gaps, the school will still give you admission. They cannot deny.
Yeah. Yes.
They
If they
can't.
have the seats, they definitely give you
Will do it.
admissions. And
Yes.
not only private schools, I think government,
Yes.
semi-government, all schools cannot deny. In fact, the pressure is more on semi-government and government schools because
Correct.
according to Right to Education, every child who wants to be admitted in
Take
a
admission.
school has to be admitted. So, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Uh, Going to the next question. Okay. Okay. Age 14 is for giving 10th exam or to register for the 10th exam.
Okay, this is interesting because you have to register only when you're 14 complete. And the validity of that is for 5 years. So within those 5 years, you can give your board exam anytime for grade 10. But the minimum age has to be 14. So you have to be 14 complete. Like I had one of my students with me last year who was 13 years and 7 months, and she was denied admission. Even the application was denied because she was like, a few months short for 14. So they are very strict about that. Yeah. So 14 has to be complete.
Okay. Okay, moving on. Name one school in IGCSE which allows external exams.
Rims,
RIMS,
rims
yeah.
only.
Yeah, RIMS International. Then in Mumbai, there are many schools, Podar
Okay.
being in the
Huh.
forefront, and there are many more. In fact, please go through the CIE website. There is a clear list of which schools
Yes.
accept and which schools do not accept. And if the school is registered and says that it accepts, then it cannot deny an admission to
Yes.
an external student.
Hmm.
Okay. So, okay, where is NIOS in Mumbai?
Head office actually don't really need an IS center for any reason because everything is online, and as I told you, it's very hassle free. So just do it from home, and then they'll probably give you a center which is close to your vicinity. So a area where you're staying, so they generally give you a center close by. It's a school only, which is converted into an NIS center, accredited center.
Yeah. Okay. Um, okay. Hello, ma'am. My son right now is in sixth grade ICSC. She hasn't completed her question, so I request
Okay.
the Facebook user to complete that question, and we'll take it later. Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, is there a great difference in the approach of IGCSE and Cambridge Board with regards to critical application?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So ICSE board is still following a very what do you call it? A very academically oriented kind of a curriculum with very little activities and things like that. But yes, they have a scope of doing project work. So I think their entire creativity and focus is on the project work that they assign to the children. However, curriculum wise, if you ask me personally, for me, it's a very boring curriculum because it's too theoretical. Even the textbooks don't have many pictures, and so it's not very interesting for the child to learn as well. So, personally, ICSE for me is not a great choice. However, Cambridge is a very fabulous choice because, as Sharmila mentioned, her personal experience, I also have tons of experiences where, there's a lot of discussion, lot of creativity, lot of things, a lot of perspective to look at the entire problem in a different mindset altogether. Like, even if I'm solving a simple thing on velocity or, a science concept like that, they do it through graphical method, so visually everything is very clear to the child. So, and they also go very slow in the initial few years. That's also one advantage. They go extremely slow till grade 4 5, where each concept is reiterated. They have taught them in different methods. Even multiplication is taught them in 5 methods. So, by the time the child reaches grade 6, he's already through with, a perfect way of solving it, at least in one method. So, yeah, I think Cambridge anytime, if we have to compare these two boards.
Okay, move on to any idea about any IGCSE school in Hyderabad which can accommodate homeschooling?
No, we might have to go to the site and check.
Yeah, yeah, do go to the site and maybe connect with the Hyderabad homeschoolers. I believe they are organizing a homeschoolers meet very soon. They have put up a poster on our Homeschooling India group to just scroll through the wall and check when their meet is, and do make it for that meet. Okay. Is there a practical exam for grade 10 NIOS for science? If yes, how does the child prepare for it and where is the exam conducted?
Yes, they have practical exams. In fact, they have something called as TMA, which is called as tutor marked assessments. All of this has to be done in the center that they are allotting you, which is going to be close to your place. So wherever you're staying, they will give you a center which is going to be close to your house. And the child, just before practical exams are announced, your child can go there and do practicals and submit the journals or the assignments or whatever is the submission work is also done in the center. So I think they do give them at least 2 or 3 revision practicals before the main exam. However, this COVID time has been really challenging for a lot of schools because they were not able to conduct practical exams last year. They could do it for few, but they couldn't do it for the rest. So then they allotted the marks only.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So, and what about practice, practice for the practicals of doing
Right. So
these
see, in
experiments?
Pune, we have Muktangan as one of the centers which has been there for the homeschoolers. Sandbox Academy helps children prepare for the practicals as well. We have a lab where we go and the children can do practicals there. So there are a lot of options available. Then there is, you can buy these ready kits from a lot of online science sites are there which are available, Fun with Science and stuff like that, where you can buy and procure the material and practice at home. Or just find alternative ways of doing things at home, because magnets are available, your wires are available. So I think it's just about, going out in the market and getting the material and doing it. So that is there. But if you're looking at centers, yes, then Muktangan is one, Sandbox is another. You all can approach us anytime for just practical work.
Okay. And maybe people in the other cities can explore other learning centers and
Yes.
other spaces where they can get this opportunity to practice their practicals. Okay. Okay. Oh, I, I'm taking this right now. It's just a comment. Glad I'm attending this. Thanks for the info. I'm homeschooling my both kids. You're welcome.
Great.
Yeah, okay, we'll move on to the next question. IGCSE has their own approach where they train the teachers. So, will they accept homeschooler for eighth grade if she was exposed to ICSC or CBSE? Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do. I have seen
Yeah.
many people do shift boards
Switchboard.
in grade
Yes, yes,
in at
yes.
an earlier grade two, at a older grade two.
Older
So
age. Yes, yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
Mhm. Okay. Could you recommend books for grade three?
Oh, just pick up any book, I would say, to be very honest. Make it more child-led is what I feel. Just pick up the books that your child is enjoying. So when you're going shopping, I think just take the child along. Show her a couple of textbooks. That's how I used to do it for my son until grade 5. Honestly, I used to just take him with me for shopping. I used to lay out all the different textbooks, whichever he finds attractive. I used to just pick it up because at the end of the day, they have to study from that book, so it has to
Mhm.
be interesting to them.
Yeah, yeah. And if if parents actually compare books from grade 1 to grade 4, you will generally see that the topics are similar, and
Same.
probably just a few sentences are added extra as the years go ahead. So I would say, apart from keeping a textbook, you can even keep an NCRT or a Cambridge or a
Yes.
books followed by an SSC curriculum or your state board curriculum, or any private books also. We have so many of these private publishers coming up with books, but don't rely completely on just those books. Use
Correct.
encyclopedias, use other resource books, other information books, videos, and so many other resources to learn a particular concept. And believe me, then the joy is immense, because for me, I feel I discover a lot more and I learn a lot more, because during
Absolutely.
my school days I wasn't taught all these things at all. So
Yeah, yeah. And
yeah.
also, Sharmila, just to add, what y'all can also do is y'all could check these free textbooks available, So
Mm.
NCRT has free downloadable textbooks. SSC board has eBal Bharti site where your textbooks are free to download. Your IGCSE, some of them are free. So, you can just check, maybe try with these textbooks first, see which is interesting you and your child and suiting your needs, and then go for maybe a physical textbook or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good advice. So, and you can even take prints of the PDFs that you
Exactly.
download. So you would always have something in hand to check whether you are aligned to what is being taught elsewhere with other
Hmm.
schools and so on. Okay. So we'll go to the next question. Hello, ma'am. My son is right now in ICSC sixth grade. I wish to homeschool from the coming academic year. I want to know the pros and cons transition with regards to disciplining. I'm learning and day to day.
Okay, so I think it's discipline, learning, and day-to-day activity kind of a thing.
Right. Yeah.
See, if you're from a schooling background and moving to unschooling or homeschooling phase, it's a big transition. I'm not going to keep you in, dark and say that yes, it's very easy, just jump in. No, there will be a phase of deschooling which you would have to do mandatorily, which is unlearning and relearning a lot of things to restructure your thinking basically, because the child is much more adaptable than you are. So that is something that you would have to keep in mind, because they just get adapted very fast. So you put them in a system and they'll just go. It's us who needs time to kind of stop comparing, stop judging, stop being judgmental about every move and action that the child does. You should be okay when the child will not do anything for weeks together. You should just be okay with that, because homeschooling shows you all faces, and it really tests your tolerance to the limit on some days. So yeah, I think it's going to be a challenge maybe initially, but you would get into a groove. Start enjoying the journey, then it's easier.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's so true, because even my children transitioned from a schooling environment to homeschooling, and in fact unschooling basically. And yes, the first year was super tough. Was super
Yes.
tough because, and not because my children did anything wrong or differently. It was because I expected them to behave in a
Exactly.
certain way. And that was where I had to unlearn and enter my child's world, and see it from their eyes. And now we are in a beautiful rhythm at home, and we have a lot of fun. It's
Correct.
it's something that I will not trade with anything else, these days that I have with my children. So, yeah.
Correct.
Uh, okay. One minute. Which one did I finish? There's so many questions coming in. My son is in grade six. Where did that?
Yeah, that's what we did.
Yeah, yes, the next one. There are a whole lot of questions. Ma'am,
Yeah.
schools and colleges in India ask for a conduct certificate from his previous institution with TC. Is it mandatory for all or only for regular schoolers?
I think this is for only regular schoolers, if I'm not wrong, because I really haven't heard about anybody demanding for
Hmm.
a conduct certificate till date. So, yeah, but I do remember that children are given. So, there are some schoolers who are there who get a conduct certificate, yes, but I don't think it's required to enter into any college or school. So, it's
See,
not required.
some colleges and professional colleges do ask for references and recommendation letters. And that it doesn't have to be from a school. It could be somebody with whom your child has spent some time and can say that, yes, I have seen
Yes,
this child work in this field or do activities in this particular field. So it's not. I don't know whether it answers your question, but see how get into it. Research, ask the college what do they mean by a
hmm.
conduct certificate, and find
Yeah.
out. Yeah. Okay. Mhm. Can you give some suggestions for working parents for their homeschoolers?
Okay, yeah. So working parents definitely sometimes becomes a big challenge because yes, when you're homeschooling, the entire responsibility of the child is actually on you. You cannot blame any school or any teacher if your child is not learning something, as per your expectation. So maybe y'all can just sit as a family because see, homeschooling is more of a family decision. Because you all have to sit and plan your schedule. How would it be? What time would the husband pitch in? What time would the wife pitch in? Kind of you have to run around with your schedules because see, for us also, like I and my husband both are working as such. Though we are working for the community of homeschoolers, but we are still working, right? So the other kids who are coming to our center also demand our time and everything. So we work around our schedules in this way, where I am busy, he would take care of maybe dropping or picking him from his tennis class and stuff like that. And when I am free, I do that job, or running the household errands also becomes challenging. So you have to kind of distribute and you have to speak and ask for help. I think that's how it works best. If you start asking each other for help and kind of tell them, fill them in that you're struggling at this point, because I have heard a lot of moms tell me, especially who are new in homeschooling journey, they feel too overwhelmed because they think it's only the mother's job to kind of homeschool their children. So let me tell you, it's not like that. It's a family decision. Everybody can pitch in. Grandparents, ask the grandparents to pitch in. That's fabulous. In fact, they are far more better teachers, thousand times more patient than what we are with our children, and their experience is there, so which is adding like a big thing where your disciplinary issues are concerned, where your morals are concerned, where your spiritual growth is concerned. So I think, yeah, grandparents do a fabulous job there. So seek help.
Yes. Seeking help is the key, and
Yeah.
working around your schedules so that you all can create the best environment for your child. That is also important.
Yeah,
Oh,
and the last resort is, appoint a tutor or, join with an academy which can take care of your child's learning needs.
true,
So you
true.
can be a little relaxed. So there are a lot of, and now there are so many beautiful learning centers with beautiful pedagogy and, thinking coming up. So yeah, just look around. You'll find help, definitely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Oops. With NEP 2020, the boards would be getting eliminated. How would that impact high school students, high school
Okay,
children?
homeschooling students, I think. Well,
Homeschooling, yeah.
the according to the new education policy, actually boards have become double because now they are open to give boards from 9th to 12th. So the free years, 9th and 11th, have also become board years from the coming academic session. So I think it's double work because the child, jo hum log 2 saal, that thing used to be hanging on a head, board. Now it's for 4 years. So it doesn't really affect our homeschooling children because we will still be giving our exams only in grade 10 and 12. So NIOS and all, they don't have grade 9 or they don't have grade 11 as such. Their curriculums are designed in such a way that the 9th and 10th are taken care together and the 11th and 12th are taken care together. So yeah. And the same is the case with even your Cambridge board. So one textbook of, say, mathematics is for about 1,000 pages. It's like this thick, the 10th standard. So obvious, you can't complete it in one go. You can't complete it in one academic session. So that you need 2 years to complete that. Yeah. So it wouldn't affect us actually.
Ooh, is ICSE board recognized under homeschooling?
No,
No.
it's not.
Okay, now, ma'am, apart from Maharashtra, are there challenges for college admissions for non-professional graduation, BSc, BCom, BA, for children who complete their NIOS? Have seen a few Quora discussions that NIOS students are being denied admissions, saying the syllabus is very simple.
No, actually, it's not like that. They are allowing homeschoolers to do BSc, BCom, BA. In fact, one of my students did a good graduation in psychology as well. So, yeah, I don't see this happening. And if they are saying that NIS syllabus is actually very simple, it's not like that. Because as I said, mentioned earlier, it's at par with your CBSE curriculum. So if you're calling NIS simple, then maybe even CBSE is simple. So there's nothing simple and hard, actually speaking. Just that maybe the college doesn't want to take a risk of giving a homeschooler an option because maybe they are little informed about who are homeschooling children and what's their potential and things of that kind. Because as I said, it matters. If they are unaware about these circumstances, then they are a little reluctant. But all those who have been researching and reading about the boom in the homeschooling community, I think they would accept it.
True.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, how to start homeschooling for a 4-year-old?
Oh, I
That's
think
your
this is
pet
such a sweet.
area.
You can just be yourself and let them be them. So I think 4-year-old is such a nice age to just relax with your kid, just enjoy being around them, enjoy their growth, see how they are blooming every single day. I think that's a wonderful thing. You can just be yourself, I said.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, my son is in grade 3 and we wish to homeschool him from next year. What all we need to do? Do we register somewhere like an iOS, IGCSE?
No, not necessary. You just have to, you can just maybe, unschool him for a year, see how it goes, or start homeschooling by taking up the grade 3 books, get them home, study, and, let him study at his own pace and time. You don't need to register in any institute until you are ready to take an exam. That's it. You need to
Yeah.
register only when you want an exam, not otherwise.
Yeah. So fortunately in India, there are no strict rules around homeschooling. You do
Exactly.
find them in some countries where you have to register and the children have to appear for the exams at the end of
Correct.
the academic year. But in India, we are really fortunate because there's nothing
Blessed.
like this. We're really
Yeah.
blessed.
Yeah.
So, okay. What about the fee structure for appearing exams through NIOS or IGCSE?
Okay, so I think NIOS is a very cheap board that way, economical, very economical. Anybody can afford because I think the total fees for the exam goes to about 2,000, 2,500. That's all for 5 subjects that you require. 5 to 6 subjects, I guess, if I'm not wrong. And IGCSE is slightly expensive, where one paper is about 20,000 or 25,000 something roughly, but the books are expensive. Each book is about 2,000 to 2,500 or 3,000 also.
1,000. True.
So yeah. And then if you are able to teach your child, well and good. If not, definitely they would need help in English, because Cambridge English is very tough. So you might need help there in having a good tutor who could kind of train your kid for that. So that's where you might spend. Or you might also spend in the overall mentorship of your child also. So yeah, that can get a little expensive.
Yeah. So overall, IGCSE being an international board is more expensive than our Indian board, which is NIOS. So, okay. My son grasps very well. For example, he writes and knows a lot of three-letter words at the age of 2.3. If I want to skip one level and enroll him in first standard when he is eligible for senior KG, which board will allow me that?
Homeschooling board.
I love your answer.
Homeschooling. Yeah, homeschooling board will allow you to jump right from KG to directly
Yeah.
sixth also, because
Mhm.
here we are more interested in the child's growth than the grade or the curriculum or beyond all. So yeah, homeschooling board will allow you. Regular boards don't allow you that, because there is age criteria. So your child needs to be a certain age if he has to go in grade 1, 2, 3, like that. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Or else there are some of these progressive schools or alternate schools who might be willing to, but it
Yeah.
will it will not be based on your assessment. It will be based on the school's assessment, whether the
Yes.
school feels the
Hmm.
child is ready for a higher grade. Yeah,
Correct. And also, then later years, they face a challenge. Like when you're in grade 9 is where the major challenge comes, because you're not eligible to give an exam. So even if
right.
you skip a class, you'll still be waiting to
Mm,
go become 14 to give that
14.
exam.
Yeah.
So that becomes a challenge sometimes.
And then there are also other challenges that a child faces because my oldest, when he was in school, always did work that was 2 years advanced. And though he was in alternate schools, and then we took a call of putting him in a grade with his age children because we felt that was not working because there are many other challenges that come in terms of he being the youngest or the child being the
Yes,
youngest with the older children feeling intimidated by the fact that there's a younger child who knows a lot more, or and
correct.
so on. So there are different dynamics that come in. If you're ready to
Yes.
handle those, well and good. If your child is ready to handle those dynamics,
Mm,
well and good. Otherwise, you need to reconsider, all these things, especially in India,
yeah,
especially in our country.
correct.
So, what's the difference between Cambridge Board and Oxford? Which one is
I
IGCS?
Um, I think Cambridge board is only IGCSE, and that's only Oxford, if I'm not wrong, because Oxford we don't generally. So Oxford is a publication, if I'm not wrong,
Right.
more
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
a board.
I was just going to say that Oxford is a publication,
Yeah.
and Cambridge is the board.
Yes.
In fact, now Cambridge has the Cambridge University Press that publishes its
Correct.
textbooks.
Yes.
And Oxford textbooks are also used by other boards. So,
Yes.
so I have personally experienced that schools give reasons like a gap in academic year is not allowed. In a government school, also, I have got the same answer. Can you please guide?
Well, gap years, sometimes, yes, you have to give reasons as to why you have taken a gap year. And unfortunately, in India, gap years are looked down, on the child. Like, okay, was he incapable? But if you go abroad and you're taking a gap year, you'll be welcomed, because they think that, you have taken a gap year. That means you've really thought it through and you are very sure what you want to do. So it's just, I think, a cultural difference. It's about the thinking process. You will have to be ready with solid reasons as to why you're taking a gap year. And if you are confident enough, I think they can't deny an admission or
Yeah.
something like that. But you should be very confident why you've taken it and have your
Yeah.
reasons sorted.
Yeah. And I think just to add, you need to be prepared to fight back. Our
Correct.
system at times is such that you will come across many such obstacles. It is about how you stay put and get what is right, what is your right.
Hmm.
So, yes, you'll have to learn to fight back.
Yeah.
Could you recommend books for third grade IGCSE curriculum?
So if you just go on Amazon and you just type learners books for grade 3 IGCSE, you would get a lot of textbooks. So you could just select that and take the subjects that you want. Mostly, I think there are textbooks available for math, science, English, which are very easily available on Amazon or Flipkart or anything.
Do we suggest any particular training for teaching the IGCSE way to our child?
Well, they have something called as parent manuals. So yeah, sometimes teaching an IGCSE curriculum can get challenging. So either you look for simplified versions of the books, which are now available on Oxford University Press, which are exclusively for parents, where the concepts are simplified. So instead of asking in a very complicated way, we are designing books which are very simple. Okay, so that's one. Second is another option is you can go and buy a parent manual, which comes with every grade. So the parent manual gives you a fair idea how you should take the concept, which activity you should do, what is the reinforcement that needs to be done in a particular exercise. All of that is given very systematically. So you can just visit the Oxford University Press site and just look for all these things. You'll get a lot of help there.
Yeah.
But you don't need to get teacher trained for that.
Right. Okay. I again lost all my questions. Okay. Do we suggest? Hmm. Okay, here. Oh, we have quite a few questions, and it is already, there's just 3 minutes to 5. Sulbha, if you're
Okay.
okay, we will complete these
Yes,
questions.
we can.
And
We
I
can, no problem.
request members to stop asking any further questions, and y'all can put them down, or probably after the last question that is here, which has been put up at 4:55. The questions that come after this will be taken separately. Maybe Sulbha can answer them on the group through the comment section. And so we'll move on to the next, which is uh, when we have to appear for NIOS exams, do we have exams for languages also? Could you please elaborate on language studies?
Okay, so NIS exam, you need grade 14 years complete to just even apply for the board, as I mentioned. And languages, English is mandatory. Rest, there are a lot of regional languages that you can choose from. So if your child is more inclined into language, then I think you can pick up two languages at the most. Yeah,
Yeah, the beauty of NIOS is that you have a wide variety of subjects to
yeah,
choose from.
35.
So yeah. So that's really interesting, and you can even give 100 marks dance paper on dance, or paper on art,
Hmm.
or paper on music, and
Music.
yes. So that's apart from studies, what extracurriculum activities are recommended?
Actually, anything that your child wants to do. Honestly, just take the cues from your children. I think they are the best people to tell you which class to put. So just observe them. I tell parents, I usually suggest them that, just observe your children for a few months and just see that which is the activity that your child does repeatedly without prodding him to do it and, is happy doing it. I think those would be the extracurricular activities that you would just choose for your child, instead of you just putting them in random classes.
Okay. I'm just a beginner based in Pune, homeschooling my kids who are just 6 and 2 years. Till date, it's running smooth. One query I have: by what age is it required to register in NIOS or any other? What all grade exams are compulsory for future purpose?
So 14 years is the age criteria, and there's no other grade exams that are required.
Yeah. So yes, and iOS does have this OBE thing, right?
Yes,
Where you
open-based study.
open based study where you can give all other grades also, but it's not required. It's not
Hmm.
compulsory, and it doesn't affect your grade 10th admissions or anything. Can a child, again the same, can a child
Yes.
appear directly for grade 10? Yes. Would you be able to share your contact number if you don't mind?
Yes. Maybe later
Yes.
we can just
You
add
know
that up.
what
Yeah.
I suggest to people is, we all know that there are times when people openly give their contact numbers, they are stalked. So why don't you message her on the messenger and she will respond by giving you her number and you can connect with her.
Yes.
I'm saying this because I get thousands of calls at times, and sometimes it just gets too much because
Correct.
some of them are really not genuine homeschoolers wanting genuine advice. So, uh, hmm. Ooh, what is the ideal age to start homeschooling?
Anytime you're ready.
Yeah,
So I
very
think
true.
it's just more about the parent than the child, because a child, as I said, is very adaptable. So I think when you are ready to take up the challenge, to take up all the different special advices from your neighbors, your community, and people around you, your family also at times, ki you're doing something wrong, you're doing something terrible to the child, and when you're ready to just, fight all that, I think that's when you're ready to start homeschooling.
Yeah. How to register to appear 10th grade for IGCSE?
So for IGCSE, you don't really need to register, but you can just go and talk to the school and give them just let them know that you will be appearing as an external candidate in this particular, whether it's a fall exam or whether it's a May exam, what month. So Cambridge offers three slots to give exams. One is in October, one is in February, only for Indian children, February March cycle, or you can give it in your regular cycles, which happen in May also. So you can just let them know, and then I think 6 months prior to the exam date, whichever month you're willing to give, you have to go and fill up the exam fee, and that's about it.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
need anything more.
Yeah. Some schools like Podar, I know, does have a pre-registration form
Okay.
which they keep for their school purpose only. This
Ah.
is not for the board purpose. This is for their record. So
Hmm.
they also follow up and find out whether you're coming back or whether it was just an inquiry and all that.
Correct.
So some schools might have their own personal process that you undergo
Hmm.
through. So. Okay. Mm. Can my child take CBSE exams in 10th if she is homeschooled? Are there schools who will field homeschooling centers, children?
No, not that I know of. No, CBSE is not allowing external candidates.
Yeah. So now we are at our last question. Okay.
Okay.
Actually, Cambridge and Oxford are AQA, are both IGCSE boards. In India, you can sign up for Cambridge or Pearson EdXL for IGCSE 10th and A levels.
Okay. Yeah, you can. So O levels is for 10th and A levels is for 12th. Yes.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you can select, so Pearson, EdXL, or Cambridge is completely dependent on the school that you would go for. So these are just the different publication kind of a thing that they're using basically, and little bit change in the pattern. But otherwise, all in all, the conceptually it's same. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. So even I don't know much about Pearson EdXL because so far people who have given their IGCSE have directly gone to the CIE website. I
Correct.
did know that Pearson guides and helps students prepare for the Cambridge exams, and they do have their curriculum and videos and
Correct.
syllabus that a unique way in which they teach, and they do charge separately for all that preparation too. So
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
like a, a learning program that you join in to prepare for your Cambridge exams, and probably they also
Yeah.
support in getting in yourself registered and so on. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, okay, so we are at the end of our questions. We, in fact, have requested people not to ask questions right now,
Yeah.
but maybe after the session is over, put down extra questions as they come to their mind. Sulbha, this has been such a wonderful session with so much information and knowledge that has been shared. And, we are greatly indebted to you. And thank you so much for, just a few days ago, I would love to tell this to the community because a few days ago, Sulbha herself asked me, what way can I help? And I was like, yay, I need more and more members to come forward and share what they know. And that's how a community is built. So
Yes.
for me, Sulbha, it was a very touching gesture from you, and thank you for reaching out. For the community to know, we will be doing a few more sessions with Sulbha in the coming months because she has a lot to share about how to homeschool your younger children. Her Sandbox Academy mostly has younger children. They have a regular program for the younger children, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
yeah, yeah. So we will have her again on our platform, and she will talk about homeschooling younger kids, mainly the primary age children.
Yes.
And thank you so much, Sulbha. Thank you so much for this
Thank you so
lovely
much,
session.
Sharmila. Yeah, thanks for this opportunity once again. And I'm glad that, I could reach to few people and, at least address their issues and make them a little comfortable. So all the guys there, thank you so much for being such great audience and welcome to the homeschooling community. Just jump in, we are there.
Right.
Yeah.
Just jump in, and we are all there. We are all there
Yes.
for
Yes.
everybody. So thank you. Thank you so much, Sulbha. And with
Yes.
this, I end today's broadcast, our live session, and see you soon.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.